the sort of person you really want to test? Oh, there we go. Hello, peasants. It is I, Adachi. What am I saying? You all know who I am. I know you all came today to see for yourselves the highlight of Persona 4. No, the entire series. It's not the dreamy underage protagonist boys, or the suave suit goblin, or even the collection of edgy Pokemon. It's me. Me, the Kaiser Soze of video games. Me, whose twist rocked your world and made you learn to trust your friends and neighbors. Me, a killer so reviled yet so beloved. I stand here today, the pinnacle of the Persona series. My name is written in the history books, and I will forever be the one true antagonist. Ah, what the?
Kept you waiting, huh?
Persona 5 Royale, a contender for one of my favorite games of all time. I'll admit that at first, before I played the original Persona 5, I asked myself, what is this weeb trash? Though it was indeed weeb trash, it turned out I was a dumpster diver in for a world of stunning visuals, engaging gameplay, and characters that made me feel what real human interaction was like for once. But alas, I cannot call this otaku wet dream perfect. Yes, there are a few gripes and nitpicks I may have, but there's one glaring weak point that I just can't ignore, and think you all know it too. That's right, the lovable little serial killer himself, Goro Akechi. Now, I am sure that I am the first to make a video about this character. Oh, well, you're gonna listen to me anyway. There seems to be two minds about him. Either he's your sweet, handsome boy of justice who seems to be Joker's other half in more ways than one, or he's an annoying, psychotic little demon child whose red flags are so crimson, he'd be very popular during running of the bulls. I fall on a ladder. In April of 2020, while the world was coughing and burning, we got a gift to save us from the turmoil, which was Persona 5 Royale. While it contained a base game, it also included many new and intriguing features such as change-ups in combat, new confidants, the thieves' den of achievements that trigger my trophy addiction, added charges to your jail time, new fun scenes with your friends in an attempt to fulfill the isolation that haunts you, and many more. But another surprising new addition to Royal is a bit of an overhaul of our dear prince. But before we can judge how they fixed him, let's discuss what there was to fix in the first place. I don't think I'm hyperbolizing when I say that Persona 5 Royale may be the beacon of human achievement. One of its many highlights is a stellar cast of characters. Along with some great supporting characters as your confidants, the core Phantom Thief team shines. They're three-dimensional, active, and fun characters with varying yet engaging personalities that are helped brought to light by an amazing voice cast, especially the talent of Mr. Matthew Mercer. Matthew Mercer. Yes, these personalities and stories may range for some people, but I have yet to hear anyone make a good argument that these characters are lacking in any substantial way. All except... Now don't go thinking I'm disrespecting the great work that Ronnie Damon did with voicing Akechi. The night and day separation between his pleasant yet patronizing tone, followed by the maniacal and unhinged craziness, shows his talent stands with the rest of the cast. The man's also got singing chops.
I'll show off, I'll blow hard. You're equal parts hot air and cold.
But the dulcet tones don't distract from the story aspect of Akechi's character, especially in vanilla Persona 5. However, before we get through the lashings, I want to give a word of praise towards a good aspect of Akechi, his personas. At first, we're made to believe that his persona is Robin Hood, a heroic rogue who goes against the law to punish evil and help the unfortunate. It dons a superhero-like appearance to let the Phantom Thieves believe that Goro really does have a core sense of justice. It makes sense, and fits really well with the group dynamic because all the other Phantom Thieves personas are rebels from history and literature. Later during its boss fight, it's revealed that his true persona is Loki, which has a sick looking design by the way. I would imagine a lot of people nowadays only know Loki from the Thor movies as a handsome trickster who just can't stay dead, and fangirls will defend his heinous actions without hesitation. Who does that remind me of? But Loki from Norse legend is a much more grand figure, actively causing issues for both sides of the war between gods and giants, just because he doesn't care who wins, because he'll make sure that he'll end up on top. In terms of persona reflecting their owners, this is a 10 out of 10 example. It also fits the team's transformations of their personas turning into tricksters of myth. I really had to give it to the writing team for really diving into his personas, even though they kinda missed a ball with him. Speaking of, back to the lashings. Let's start with the obvious, shall we? If you didn't believe that Akechi was a traitor, then I really shouldn't be making fun of you because it's wrong to mock the blind and deaf. When starting Persona 5, knowing right off the bat that someone on a team would betray you brought stakes and intrigue to the story. Falling in love with each of these characters but always having a feeling of unease in the back of your head because any one of them could be a two-faced snitch. But as soon as I saw Akechi, I realized, oh, he's a traitor? Thank God. At first I had my money on Yusuke. The amount of dialogue about his constant hunger made me suspect he sells out for a bowl of udon. But also, it's not like Akechi isn't the only one who can't keep a secret.
We wouldn't be doing stuff as the Phantom Thieves to start with. Let's meet up at the usual spot to hold our Phantom Thieves meeting.
And it's all thanks to us being the Phantom Thieves.
I can't be too harsh with his obviousness, because even the director of the game admitted that he had a hard time making Akechi not seem suspicious in the Persona 5 art book. The latter twist of the Phantom Thieves' plan to trick Akechi and the reveal of the fake Igor redeemed the competency of the story in my eyes. Even Royal redeemed the concept of an obvious twist villain, but we'll get to that later. Another flag was that Akechi's social link was weirdly automatic. Throughout the game in between missions, you can spend time with the main supporting cast of the game to level up your social links. Leveling up your relationship with your confidants gives you benefits like unlocking in-game mechanics and making better persona. However, for most of these, you actively had to choose to hang out with these people, and a lot of them are missable if you don't spend your time wisely or the appropriate social stats. Damn it. Don't have enough charm to ask out the love of my life. Oh well, back to the bathhouse with the boys! Only 3 confidants level up automatically. Igor's a fool, Morgana's a magician, and Goro's justice. There's also Sai's judge, but I barely count that. Now, Igor doesn't seem too odd, since he's basically your keeper, and you see him unwillingly anyway, though that twist kind of adds perspective onto this. Morgana's isn't too strange either, because the mascot character of Persona 4 was automatic as well, and he's already always with you anyway, helping you cheat in school and determining your sleep schedule. Goro is the odd man out because he doesn't play the central role of Joker's story at first, unlike Igor and Morgana, yet your relationship with him just grows deeper against your consent. Maybe Atlas could tell that no one would willingly hang out with a dude who talks as creepily as the Shining Twins. Yet he just pops in and out of the story, spouts some nonsense about his tragic backstory, and leaves. Why are you telling me this? Please, stop. I don't care. Would you just get out of my house? Though he becomes a party member later in the story, even the other Phantom Thieves aren't automatic and don't progress till you spend active time with them. You just meet Akechi at a TV station and immediately fall for his charm and wit.
I may not seem like it, but I sometimes wish that Santa Claus actually existed. Although, if he did, I'd have to arrest him for breaking and entering.
Fuck you!
That was truly cringeworthy.
So you should all know the story by now. Turns out Akechi snitched on us, Joker gets arrested and has to explain to Sai why he has his teacher do his laundry, and Akechi kills Joker.
What a douche.
But JK, cause turns out the Phantom Thieves tricked Akechi into killing a Joker body pillow or something, and then we face the man puppeting Akechi, Shido, one of the many evil bald men vying for absolute power in media. And to be honest, I have no idea what his ultimate plan was. I think it was something about bringing Japan into prominent global power, but he seems to be forgetting the last time that was attempted. Now here's an area people like to defend Akechi's motivations on. Akechi learned, somehow, that Shido was his deadbeat dad and used his power to help drive Shido's opponents insane and ensure his political power. People like to claim that Shido manipulated Akechi into doing all the maiming and killing so he's scot-free from any wrongdoing. Well, he seemed to be ignoring a key factor here. Akechi wasn't psychologically nuking people just for his daddy's love and admiration.
Watch.
Look at me! Please love me, Dad!
See, anyone can do it.
That's a terrible impression.
But not inaccurate.
Why are you still here?
Once he realizes the Phantom Thief's ploy and confronts him inside Shido's Epstein Palace, he says that his true plan was to bring Shido to ultimate power, just to topple him down after revealing his relationship to him and killing him. You know, something a totally sane and innocent individual would crop up. After getting his ass deservedly kicked, Shido's cognitive version of Akechi shows up to finish the job. Yeah, turns out Shido didn't trust an emotionally unstable teenager with the powers of a god not to kill him, so he took some precautions. So in the end, Akechi wasn't a victim, Shido just double-crossed his double-cross.
So this is how Shido thinks of Goro Akechi? It's too horrible.
But not inaccurate.
The Phantom Thieves then weirdly give Akechi a pass for trying to murder them, twice, and barely acknowledge that he's responsible for causing the death of 2 of their members' parents, but whatever. Akechi locks him out and seems to honorably sacrifice himself to atone for his past misdeeds and redeem himself in the eyes of his eternal rival. Cool, then we shoot guy in the face and the game ends. So the world is saved thanks to Fither. Joker is prepared to sacrifice his freedom for his justice and the people he cares for, and will never have to see that psychotic, screaming child ever again.
There's no need for that.
Shit, he's alive. Yes, it turns out Akechi can survive Shido's double cross and comes to Joker's aid at the end of P5R. I'm sure you are all as surprised and disappointed as I was. But how did this happen, you ask? Well, let's go back through the story, this time in Persona 5 Royale. So up until your first meeting, nothing changes in terms of Akechi's involvement in character. You still meet him at the television station and it starts his confidant. However, this time his confidant isn't automatic. Instead, you actively choose to hang out with him during your evenings in Kichijoji. He even hangs out with you and new character Kasumi at a cafe.
Presenting oneself in a favorable light is nothing surprising. More surprising is just how innocent you seem to be.
I will deck you in the mouth. At first, I thought Joker needed more time for Akechi like another hole in the... Oh. But then I actually started enjoying my time with him. Because our interactions felt more natural and casual, it felt like I actually got to know him as a character and not a plot device. Before, he would just show up, spout some plot information or a vague sad backstory, and leave. Then our confidant would go up like we just had brunch together. Now, we can actually have brunch together. Also, for a guy who claims to hate us, he sure does know how to wine and dine us. Isn't it great when a character that didn't get too much screen time in the original game gets a chance to develop themselves? Oh, hi Haru. Bye Haru. I'm sure the short, missable added Haru scenes made a huge difference. I still love you. I'll be honest, maybe if I hadn't played vanilla Persona 5 and spent some of this quality Akechi time, maybe I wouldn't have suspected Akechi as much. Maybe I could have learned to... Never mind. The highlight of this confidant is when around the time during infiltrating Side's palace, Akechi challenges Joker to a duel in Mementos. This is actually a pretty entertaining fight, and adds much more to Akechi's character and Joker's relationship with him. Akechi's true nature is teased, with him getting a little too into it.
That wasn't enough to satisfy me. It's your own fault, though.
Originally, his sudden heel turn to a maniacal killer seemed to be random and off-putting. His betrayal was telegraphed too obviously, yet his true personality was never even touched upon. This confidant lays hints about his competitive nature and how he sees Joker as an opponent, while this fight teases at his psychotic personality. And honestly, getting more chances to kick his ass is always a welcome addition. The fight ends because Akechi's a little bitch, and he gives us his glove to sniff, I guess. The story then continues as normal, and then we get to Shido's palace. Nothing much changes to the dialogue before his boss fight, but the time we spent with him beforehand gives his confrontation much more context and weight. This sudden crazed monologue is no longer pulled out of nowhere, and Akechi's jealousy yet respect for Joker is much more developed.
You don't really hate Joker, do you? That smile before we fought. Isn't that how you really feel?
His supposed redemption still falls flat though, because tea time doesn't really excuse serial murder in my eyes, though his final scene does give him some pity points. I also found it weird how Royal really pushed the Joker and Akechi are mirrors of each other bit. Honestly, Joker and Akechi's mom have more in common, because they both got f***ed by Shido. Then like before, we use the power of friendship and to save the world, and Akechi shows up to take the blame before we're locked away. Wait, where's he going? Stop him! He's getting away! Up until now, Persona 5 Royale had done a great job sprucing up Akechi's character, but here's where the real fun starts. In the coming months before P5R's release, the third semester was one of the major sticking points. we'd be able to continue our adventures as ravenous rogues on a brand new adventure into the depths of the human psyche. We all had our guesses to what this mythical new chapter could contain, but it was hard to pin down the exact details. But I gotta say, the third semester did not disappoint. First off, as mentioned before, the third semester redeems making an obvious twist villain in Dr. Maruki. Dr. Maruki seemed at first to be a new, casual introduction to the Persona 5 story. His boyish looks and clumsy yet charming aura, and actually useful confidant abilities, made him a fine addition. As the story goes on, however, his motives start to show as he explains his interest in cognitive science. He didn't wear his red flag as a cape like Akechi. There was just something off about him, but never stopped me from finding him interesting. If you get Akechi's, Kasumi's, and Maruki's confidants to an appropriate level, you unlock the third semester, meaning you're basically forced to hang out with these people for new content, but they're enjoyable enough for it not to feel like a burden. After the third semester starts, everyone's dream starts coming true. Then Joker, Kasumi, and the now released Akechi investigate a palace that shows up. Turns out, Maruki is the knowing ruler of this palace, and double twist made our red-haired wonder girl think she was her own dead sister. Wow, that's actually kinda cool. Also, fuck you and your porn music, Maruki! How dare you mentally scar my ribbon-wearing queen! Oh, I can't say mad at you. Maruki's goal is to remake the world in his image of paradise while simultaneously taking away everyone else's free will. So now it's up to Joker, along with the other Phantom Thieves, to stop him. And joining the Phantom Thieves for real this time around is Akechi. Thankfully, they don't allow it without some hesitation.
Now's not the time to let personal stuff get in the way of our goal. But if you ever betray us again, we'll make sure you regret it.
Alright then.
He actively plays a vital role in the third semester, helping the team investigate Maruki's plans. His presence is also the one thing the Phantom Thieves were missing. A straight man. He's dropped the Detective Prince persona, and his personality is now just dry and hauntingly calm, which we are to assume is his true demeanor. He juxtaposes well with the bombastic cast, offering dry retorts to their wacky antics, although his personality during battle is far more interesting. During combat, he presents a personality similar to that of his earlier boss fight.
Just picturing it sends chills down my spine.
Okay, that's enough. He shows himself as wild and crazed, with a yearning for blood and violence, all crescendoed with a beautiful maniacal laugh. Again, mad props to Robbie Damon for this performance. Akechi is even further made essential to the plot when it's revealed that he's only alive because of Dr. Maruki, and if he was to be defeated, Akechi may no longer stick around to celebrate. Of course, Akechi doesn't give a damn. He seems to have actually grown from his experience with Shido, saying he's done being controlled and never wants to walk anyone else's path but his own. I honestly found this to be an honorable position. This is where he truly does become a Phantom Thief. Well, there might be a catch. See, because of some weird wording for Maruki, there's some doubt whether this Akechi is actually Akechi. In the beginning of the third semester, we saw deceased people like Wakaba and Okumura being, well, alive, and interacting with everyone else. They apparently aren't cognitions or shadows, just them being brought back to life via Maruki's powers. Existential horror aside, this adds a wrench into the story. Either Akechi did die in the palace and was brought back by Maruki's powers, this Akechi is a real Akechi but not our original one, or Akechi did survive and he was simply brought back into the story via Maruki's powers. Anime never fails to make things more complicated. Hey, editor note right here. So apparently there's some like cut footage or cut game files of Akechi being at like a therapist office or a rehab after his bout with Shido. I can't really tell. It's either after the events of the third semester or it's after the events of the Shido Palace and he just escaped to there. So apparently the game people wanted him to stay alive, but I guess they cut it just to make it more of a mystery and maybe they just ran out of time. So yeah, my point still stands though. Now, if this Akechi is simply a cognitive created clone, it adds another layer to his behavior. Maruki brought back Akechi because of Joker's regret on how their relationship ended. I mean, I was perfectly satisfied, but go ahead and make decisions for me, Maruki. My reality would have looked something like this, but whatever. Maruki granted Joker's wish and brought back, an Akechi. But since he took that wish from Joker's cognition, and the last time Joker saw Akechi, he was...
All I care about now is killing you! Keep that shit to yourselves! Go down with me!
Being rather rude, It may add to why Akechi comes off so vicious during combat. This Akechi is defined by Joker's cognition of Akechi, so he's going to behave like Joker perceives he would. Joker would see him as a reluctant ally because that's what he hoped for after his boss fight. He would have Akechi wear his crow outfit because that's the last outfit he saw him in. He would give Akechi an unfeeling monotone voice because Akechi's presence makes me feel dead inside. Now I'm more on the side of believing that this is the real Akechi. Moreover, because of the MCU-style secret ending where we see Akechi's body walk through the screen. Trust me, Joker can sense that body anywhere. So either Maruki was being a naughty boy and lying about Akechi's fate, or the power of friendship and brought back Akechi, which, meh, hopefully he won't show up in Scramble. So those are my conclusive thoughts on the enigma that is the character of Goro Akechi. I went from the leader of the Akechi hate mob to a passive admirer thanks to Persona 5 Royal's overhaul. He's definitely not on the top of my sympathetic villain list, but he's earned my begrudging respect. If not for his character, then it's for the coolest Showtime attack of all time! So they both end up in Gotham City for some reason, and then Akechi just goes fucking insane, and goes fucking insane and just goes crazy, and then he runs like goes going gotcha bad, Joker just swings, wham, wham, goes crow, down, and Akechi goes fucking nuts, and murders him, Joker, and then lands down that one gunshot, one last shot, that was cool. I mean, yeah, that was pretty cool, I guess. Hello everyone, thanks for watching the video. Special thanks to Fither for providing the voice of the despicably likable Adachi. If you liked the video, I got plenty of other great ones for your viewing pleasure, and make sure to subscribe to keep up with all my videos. This video was a long time in the making, so thanks again for your support. I guess that's the end. I promise I'll eventually get better at outros. See ya.